When society breaks down, it doesn't send an invitation. One day, the shelves are full, the banks are open, and medicine is only a phone call away. The next day, trucks stop rolling, ATMs go dark, and the world you depended on simply stops working. For most people, that collapse is terrifying. But for anyone over 55, it's brutal. Food runs out faster, bodies tire quicker, and healthcare, the lifeline seniors rely on, disappears overnight. You don't need to imagine it. It's already happened in Venezuela, Puerto Rico, and even parts of the U.S. after hurricanes and riots. And every single time, seniors pay the highest price. Here's the truth no one likes to admit. Survival isn't about luck. And it isn't about waiting for the government to save you. It's about already having the right tools in your hands before the collapse hits. And the tools that matter most, they're not flashy, not expensive, and most people ignore them until it's too late. In the next few minutes, you'll see 10 survival items that every adult over 55 will wish they had when society collapses. Miss even one of these, and the difference between safety and struggle could be life itself. Number 1, mental health gear. When society collapses, people imagine the threats they can touch: empty shelves, dark streets, and silent hospitals. But the danger most seniors underestimate is the one they can't see: what happens inside their own mind. In a world stripped of routine and certainty, stress multiplies. Fear becomes constant. Days blur into nights, and the smallest setback feels overwhelming. For adults past 55, that pressure is heavier. The body is slower to adapt, sleep becomes fragile, and memories that once felt clear begin to scatter under strain. Collapse isn't just a test of strength, it's a marathon of patience. And the tool that decides whether you endure or unravel is not only food or fire, but comfort. Mental health gear doesn't mean expensive therapy kits. It means simple, low-cost items that anchor you when everything else falls apart. A pack of crosswords or puzzle books might look trivial, but in a powerless world, they preserve focus and keep memory sharp. A deck of playing cards can transform silence into social connection, giving seniors and their families a reason to gather, laugh, and push back against isolation. Even prayer beads, journals, or sketch pads offer something priceless: rhythm, reflection, and a sense of control when the outside world feels uncontrollable. Comfort also means sensory relief. Extra pairs of reading glasses ensure words remain visible, keeping books and instructions accessible. Earplugs soften chaotic noise in crowded shelters. A warm blanket or familiar pillow quiets the nervous system, reminding the body it is safe enough to rest. These aren't luxuries, they're survival tools for the mind. Because collapse rarely ends in a single night, it stretches into weeks, and those who hold on mentally are the ones who adapt physically. For seniors, losing calm means losing independence. Panic leads to mistakes, mistakes lead to injuries, and in a broken system, even small injuries turn serious. But with simple comfort tools close at hand, each day feels manageable. You conserve energy, you think clearly, you keep hope alive not as an abstract idea, but as a daily practice. And in collapse, that is the dividing line: those who spiral and those who endure. Mental health and comfort gear ensure you endure. Number 2, bleach bottles. When people think of collapse survival, their minds jump straight to food, heat, or defense. But there's one household item almost everyone overlooks, an item so ordinary it hides in plain sight, yet in a true breakdown it can decide whether you stay healthy or spiral into sickness. That item is bleach. For seniors especially, bleach isn't just a cleaner, it's a lifeline. Here's why. In a stable society, water runs clear, hospitals treat infections, and trash disappears every week. Remove that infrastructure, and suddenly, your greatest threats aren't gangs or looters, they're invisible. Contaminated drinking water, germs building in kitchens, bacteria multiplying in bathrooms. For anyone over 55 who already faces a slower immune response, those hidden enemies hit faster and harder. A simple stomach bug can escalate into dehydration, weakness, or worse. That's where bleach earns its place in survival. The power of bleach lies in versatility. With a teaspoon diluted in a gallon of water, you can create a disinfectant that wipes down counters, doorknobs, and surfaces where disease lingers. With a few drops per liter, you can purify questionable water sources, turning what would make you sick into something drinkable. Trash piling up? A quick rinse of bleach solution suppresses odor and slows bacteria. Even laundry washed with diluted bleach reduces risk of spreading infection through clothing and bedding. Preparation is simple but crucial. Store unscented, regular-strength bleach, not splashless, not scented, not gel. Mark the bottles with the purchase date. Bleach loses potency after about 6 months, so rotate supplies regularly. Keep droppers or measuring spoons close by, so seniors aren't left guessing at doses. And most importantly, store bottles in a cool, safe spot, sealed away from children and pets. Misuse is dangerous. Too much bleach in water makes it unsafe to drink. Mixing with ammonia creates toxic fumes. Seniors should keep clear, written instructions in their emergency binder, no confusion, no improvisation. The payoff is massive. While others scramble with diarrhea, fevers, or infections in a world without doctors, you stay strong, hydrated, and in control. In collapse, it isn't bullets that claim the most lives, it's disease. Bleach may look like a cheap bottle on a shelf, but in reality, it's one of the sharpest weapons you can wield against the deadliest threats. Bleach bottles aren't cleaning supplies, they're survival supplies. Number 3. Old towels. Most people see old towels as clutter-ripped, faded fabric folded at the back of a closet. But in a real breakdown, those forgotten pieces of cotton can become tools that carry surprising weight, especially for anyone over 55 who needs solutions that are simple, safe, and ready right now. Think about the problems that appear when basic services disappear. Plumbing stops working, windows starts leaking drafts, dishes pile up without running water. Even minor injuries turn serious without sterile bandages. Seniors, already dealing with slower recovery and less mobility, need answers that don't rely on electricity, expensive gear, or outside help. That's where towels step up. Start with insulation. Line the bottom of drafty doors with rolled towels, and you instantly slow the loss of heat or cool air. Layer them against rattling windows to create a barrier where glass fails. This tiny adjustment buys comfort without machines or extra fuel. For older adults sensitive to cold, that comfort is more than convenience, it's protection. Now consider hygiene. Clean cloth is hard to come by once supply chains stall. Towels cut into strips become reusable wipes for hands, dishes, or surfaces. With a quick rinse in boiled water and sun drying, they serve again and again. Compare that to disposable paper, which runs out in days. Seniors who struggle with carrying heavy trash bags or sourcing replacements find towels far easier to manage. Towels also serve medical needs. Torn into long, firm strips, they act as slings or compression wraps. Folded thick, they cushion pressure points for anyone forced to sleep on the floor. In emergencies, padding a fall or bracing a weak joint can mean the difference between staying independent and being immobilized. For older bodies prone to bruising, that matters. Even comfort has its place. A warm, familiar towel used as a pillow, blanket layer, or even something to hold during restless nights reduces stress. Collapse isn't only about food and fire, it's about finding calm in chaos. And for seniors, calm supports clearer judgment and steadier health. The key is preparation. Instead of throwing out worn towels, wash and store them in a clean, dry bin. Label them for tasks, some for cleaning, some for warmth, some for emergencies. That way, when the world outside grows unstable, you already have a multi-purpose toolkit waiting at home. Old towels may look ordinary, but when everything else feels uncertain, they quietly become one of the most dependable resources you own. Number 4, garden tools. A yard or even a small balcony can turn into a lifeline if you have the right tools. For seniors, the thought of growing food might feel overwhelming at first, but the truth is simple. A few sturdy tools can change survival from depending on empty shelves to harvesting your own meals. And when systems are shaky, that shift isn't just smart, it's powerful. Start with the basics. A lightweight hand trowel lets you plant seeds without strain. A pair of pruning shears keeps plants healthy, trimmed, and producing longer. A small spade, durable gloves, and a watering can round out a kit that doesn't require heavy lifting or complicated machinery. Each tool is simple, reliable, and easy on joints that may not handle the stress of constant bending or twisting. Why does this matter? Because food security disappears fast. Stores run out, supply trucks stop, and suddenly fresh produce becomes priceless. For someone over 55, skipping nutrition isn't just inconvenient, it weakens the body, slows healing, and lowers energy when you need it most. Even a modest garden of greens, herbs, or root vegetables can provide steady vitamins and calories without relying on anyone else. The beauty of gardening tools is their flexibility. A small balcony box can grow lettuce, a windowsill planter can produce herbs, a backyard plot can yield potatoes or beans. With the right tools, seniors aren't locked into large projects, they can start small and expand as they're comfortable. Tools reduce the frustration of improvising with bare hands or fragile kitchen utensils, making the process smoother and more enjoyable. Maintenance is simple. Keep tools clean and dry to prevent rust. Choose ergonomic handles to reduce strain on wrists and fingers. Mark handles with bright tape so they're easy to spot in grass or soil. Store them in a bucket or bag where they stay organized and ready. These small steps prevent wasted energy, a resource seniors can't afford to spend carelessly. The payoff is more than food. Tending plants lowers stress, keeps the body gently active, and gives each day structure. For older adults, that routine supports mental clarity and emotional balance as much as it provides nutrition. When others feel powerless, the ability to pick a meal from your own soil restores confidence. Garden tools may look ordinary, but in the hands of a senior who prepares wisely, they transform fear into independence and scarcity into growth. Number 5. Steel cookware. In uncertain times, when power grids fail and takeout menus vanish into memory, nothing matters more than the ability to prepare your own meals. For seniors, that reality comes with extra challenges: fragile pots that warp on open flames, coated pans that chip under stress, and flimsy cookware that simply doesn't survive repeated use. The solution isn't fancy gadgets or lightweight camping sets. The tool that stands the test of time, fire, and collapse is plain, sturdy steel cookware. Steel doesn't just cook, it endures. Unlike aluminum or nonstick pans that buckle over campfires or wood stoves, heavy steel holds its shape. It distributes heat evenly, making sure precious food doesn't scorch in one spot while staying raw in another. That consistency saves energy, effort, and ingredients you can't afford to waste. For older adults with limited supplies, every handful of rice, beans, or vegetables has to count. Steel ensures it does. Durability also means freedom. A steel pot can boil water for drinking, stew wild greens, or bake bread right on hot coals. With one dependable piece, you replace the need for a dozen fragile tools. And because steel is tough, you don't treat it like glass. You can scrub it with sand, rinse it in a stream, or bang it against a rock without fear of breaking. Seniors benefit most from this simplicity. No special cleaners, no delicate coatings, just resilience. Maintenance is straightforward. After use, wipe dry to prevent rust. If rust appears, it can be scrubbed away and the pot is ready again. Unlike nonstick pans that become dangerous once scratched, steel never loses its core strength. A single well-chosen pot or pan can outlast years of uncertainty, serving not just one person, but generations. There's another quiet advantage: comfort. Cooking in solid steel feels familiar, grounding, like kitchens before microwaves and single-use gadgets. For seniors navigating chaos, that sense of normalcy is more than sentimental. It's stabilizing. Preparing a real meal in a trusted pot restores routine, nourishes both body and spirit, and turns survival into living. Collapse strips life to essentials. For adults past 55, essentials must be reliable, safe, and adaptable. Steel cookware is all three. It doesn't bend, doesn't chip, and doesn't quit. In a world where everything else breaks down, it's the one kitchen tool that stands strong beside you, meal after meal, day after day. Number 6. Elastic bands. Sometimes the most powerful survival tools aren't big, heavy, or expensive. They're the small, flexible things that quietly solve dozens of problems at once. Elastic bands are one of those underestimated items. For seniors who need solutions that are simple, lightweight, and adaptable, these little loops of stretch can be the difference between frustration and functionality when society breaks down. Think first about organization. In a world without tidy shelves or regular shopping trips, keeping supplies secure becomes essential. Elastic bands group utensils, seal half-used food bags, and keep medical kits from spilling into chaos. For older adults with slower reflexes or weaker grip strength, that neatness isn't just preference, it prevents waste and saves energy. But the uses go far beyond storage. Elastic bands turn into emergency repair tools in seconds. A broken pair of glasses can be held together long enough to keep vision clear. A flashlight with a loose battery compartment works again with a band wrapped tight. Even clothing or shoes that split under pressure can be patched temporarily, buying precious time until a better fix is found. In collapse, those stopgaps matter. Seniors know the truth. Sometimes good enough is exactly what keeps you moving. Elastic also supports the body itself. Gentle bands tied together create resistance loops for light exercise, helping maintain strength, circulation, and flexibility when mobility declines. For adults over 55, that daily movement isn't about vanity, it's about keeping joints limber and muscles awake in a world where medical rehab may not exist. A few minutes of stretching with elastic can prevent stiffness that otherwise leads to falls or injuries. Even comfort finds its place here. Rolled blankets held by bands pack tighter, making carrying easier. Loose curtains or tarps stay sealed against drafts. Small bundles of kindling are easier to haul to a fire. Each simple use reduces strain, saving strength for the real battles ahead. The key is quantity. Elastic bands are light, cheap, and take almost no space, but their value multiplies when you have them in bulk. Keep them in jars, wrap them around tool handles, or tuck them in bags. They'll wait quietly until the moment you need them most. In collapse, survival isn't just about the big tools, it's about adaptability. Elastic bands may look like scraps of rubber, but in the hands of a prepared senior, they transform into lifelines of order, repair, strength, and comfort. Small loops, big impact. Number 7, needle kit. In the calm of everyday life, a simple sewing kit feels old-fashioned, something tucked away in a drawer, rarely touched. But in the silence of collapse, when stores vanish and replacements don't exist, a handful of needles and strong thread turn into one of the most practical lifelines a senior can own. Clothing is the first layer of survival. It shields against cold, sun, and injury. Yet fabric tears easily, zippers break, and seams unravel. For younger people, those problems are irritating. For adults over 55, they're dangerous. A ripped coat in winter can mean lost warmth. Loose shoes can cause a stumble that leads to serious injury. With a needle kit, these risks don't end in disaster, they end in repair. A good kit is simple. Sharp needles of different sizes, durable thread, a few spare buttons, and safety pins. These small tools weigh almost nothing but restore function to the very items you already depend on. A torn sleeve is stitched back into service. A ripped backpack strap carries weight again. Even tents or tarps, fragile under stress, can be patched with steady hands and a bit of thread. But sewing isn't just about clothing. In collapse, a needle kit becomes medical support too. Sterilized with flame, a needle can lance a blister, drain an abscess, or even close a wound with makeshift stitches when no clinic is open. For seniors with fragile skin or slower healing, these tiny interventions can mean the difference between recovery and infection. The tool is small, but its role is immense. Needles also stretch resources. Instead of discarding worn fabric, you repurpose it. Old sheets become bandages, curtains become bags, torn towels become rags. Every repair extends the lifespan of what you already own, which is priceless when replacements never arrive. There's comfort, too. The quiet act of stitching restores a sense of control. In uncertain times, that rhythm of needle through cloth grounds the mind, bringing calm focus to restless evenings. For seniors, that peace is as vital as the repair itself. A needle kit doesn't demand strength or fuel, it simply asks to be ready. And when the world frays at the seams, those who can mend stay warmer, safer, and stronger. In collapse, survival isn't always about building new, it's about holding on to what you already have. Number 8. Cooking pot. Few tools carry as much quiet power as a sturdy cooking pot. It doesn't need to be fancy, coded, or modern. In collapse, where every calorie is precious and every task is harder for older hands, a single strong pot becomes one of the most reliable allies a senior can have. The beauty of a cooking pot lies in versatility. With it, you can boil water to make it safe for drinking, simmer rice and beans into filling meals, or turn wild greens into nourishing soups. Without one, raw ingredients become nearly useless. Grains stay hard, roots stay tough, and water stays dangerous. For adults over 55, who can't afford foodborne illness or dehydration, the difference between having a pot and not having one is the difference between strength and weakness. Durability is key. Thin, lightweight pots may dent, warp, or burn through on open flames. A thick, dependable pot, ideally stainless steel or cast iron, handles fire, coals, and even makeshift stoves without complaint. It doesn't quit after a few uses, it keeps going, day after day. That kind of reliability gives seniors peace of mind, knowing they won't be left stranded with broken gear in the middle of hardship. A pot also simplifies cleaning. Food residue can be boiled off with a little water and heat, requiring less scrubbing and effort. For older adults with limited mobility or hand strength, this ease makes the daily grind less punishing. Even sterilizing cloths, tools, or water for medical needs becomes simple with a rolling boil. Beyond survival, a pot also restores normalcy. The act of preparing a hot meal is more than physical nourishment, it's emotional stability. For seniors facing chaos, gathering around a pot of soup or stew offers routine, warmth, and comfort. It reminds the body and the mind that life still has rhythm, that home can exist even in collapse. Preparation is straightforward. Choose a pot with a secure lid, sturdy handles, and a size that matches your strength. Too small, and you'll struggle to make enough food. Too large, and it becomes heavy to lift. The right balance ensures independence without strain. In collapse, survival doesn't always belong to those with the biggest weapons or largest stockpiles. Sometimes, it belongs to the ones who can still gather, still cook, and still share a hot meal. A good cooking pot makes that possible. Number 9. Compression socks. In normal life, compression socks are something doctors recommend after surgery or for long flights. But in a world where hospitals close and pharmacies run dry, these simple pieces of fabric transform into survival gear, especially for anyone over 55. What looks like an ordinary pair of socks can actually guard mobility, circulation, and independence when you need them most. The biggest challenge for seniors during collapse isn't just food or shelter, it's staying on their feet. Hours of sitting in makeshift shelters, standing in long lines, or walking further than usual to fetch supplies put incredible stress on aging legs. Without proper support, swelling sets in, veins struggle, and the risk of blood clots climbs. A single clot, untreated, can become life-threatening. Compression socks act like a silent shield, keeping blood moving and legs steady in conditions where medical help may never come. Comfort is another overlooked advantage. In the chaos of survival, swollen feet and aching calves quickly drain energy. For seniors already dealing with arthritis, diabetes, or circulation problems, that pain isn't just uncomfortable. It can make even small tasks feel impossible. Compression socks reduce fatigue, letting you walk further, rest easier, and conserve strength for the essentials. Every ounce of energy saved becomes another chance to adapt. Durability also matters. Unlike ordinary socks that wear thin and tear fast, compression socks are designed to last longer and resist stretching out. That resilience pays off when replacements aren't available. Wash them in a small basin, hang them to dry, and they're ready again. No electricity, no special care. For older adults with limited space in a bug-out bag or emergency kit, 1 or 2 quality pairs can make all the difference. There's also the hidden benefit of prevention. Seniors are more vulnerable to sores, infections, and injuries on their legs. Compression socks create gentle pressure that keeps skin healthier and reduces irritation caused by swelling. Protecting your legs today means avoiding a chain of medical problems tomorrow, problems that collapse leaves you unequipped to treat. Preparation is simple. Pack multiple pairs, choose graduated compression, and make sure they fit comfortably without cutting off circulation. Store them alongside first aid supplies, because in truth, that's exactly what they are. In survival, independence is everything. And for seniors, independence begins with mobility. Compression socks may not look dramatic, but they quietly protect your ability to stand, walk, and keep moving forward. Step by steady step, no matter how uncertain the world becomes. Number 10. Spare shoes. In a crisis, most people worry about food, water, or medicine. But ask anyone who has lived through disasters, and they'll tell you, without reliable shoes, every step becomes a struggle. For seniors, whose balance, joints, and stamina are already tested, footwear isn't just clothing, it's survival equipment. A spare pair of shoes can mean the difference between moving forward and being left behind. Think about what collapse really looks like. Roads blocked, sidewalks cracked, debris scattered everywhere. You won't be strolling across smooth pavement, you'll be climbing, stepping over rubble, maybe even walking for miles. The shoes you wear daily, designed for comfort in normal life, often fall apart under that kind of punishment. Once they rip, soak through, or lose support, your mobility is gone. And for adults over 55, losing mobility isn't an inconvenience, it's dangerous. That's why spare shoes are essential. Not just any shoes, but sturdy, supportive ones that protect your feet from sharp objects, uneven terrain, and endless hours of standing or walking. Hiking boots, trail shoes, or strong sneakers with thick soles all make excellent backups. Lightweight slippers or sandals won't cut it. They might be easy to slip on at home, but in survival, they collapse under pressure. Rotation is key. Wearing one pair while keeping another dry and clean ensures you're never stranded barefoot or limping. Wet shoes lead to blisters, infections, and exhaustion. A spare pair gives you options, letting your feet recover and stay healthy. For seniors with slower healing and greater vulnerability, this small precaution prevents major setbacks. Preparation is simple. Choose shoes half a size larger than normal to account for swelling, thick socks, or bandages. Break them in ahead of time so they don't cause new blisters when you need them most. Store them in an easy-to-reach place not buried in a closet so when disaster hits, they're ready to go. Shoes might not feel urgent when shelves are full and streets are calm. But when collapse turns every journey into a test, they're as critical as food or fire. A spare pair ensures your independence, your safety, and your ability to keep moving because survival always begins with your next step. You've seen it now: 10 simple, overlooked items that most people ignore until it's too late. None of them are flashy, none of them are expensive. But in a world where comfort disappears overnight and survival gets harder by the day, these are the quiet tools that keep you strong, steady, and independent, especially if you're over 55. Because collapse isn't just about stockpiles or weapons. It's about staying mobile when roads are broken. It's about cooking a meal when stores are empty. It's about keeping calm when chaos tries to tear you apart. And every single item we've talked about today gives you one more layer of protection, one more chance to endure what others won't. The truth is, survival isn't random. It's not luck. It belongs to the people who prepare, the ones who think ahead, the ones who understand that the smallest tools often make the biggest difference. And now, you're one of those people. You know the secrets most will overlook, but this is just the beginning. If you found value here, if you want to keep learning practical, real-world strategies that protect you and your family, then don't leave it to chance. Hit that subscribe button right now. Because every week, we bring you more tools, more ideas, and more survival skills that turn fear into confidence. Think of it this way. When the world shakes, when shelves empty, when everything you've counted on suddenly disappears, what will you have? Panic or preparation? Weakness or wisdom? If you want wisdom, if you want strength, if you want to be ready, then join us. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and become part of a community that refuses to be caught off guard. The collapse may come without warning, but when it does, you'll already be holding the tools that matter. And that's the difference between just surviving and truly enduring.